Good afternoon.
Okay.
My name is Chris Adlam with Youth Pledge for Employers, and I'm delighted to be joined by Ben from Team AB. Hi there, Ben.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, not too bad yourself.
Good.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for giving your time to speak with me this afternoon. And I guess my sort of first question has to be, can you tell me a little bit about Team AB and what it is you do?
Yes, so Team AB are a construction company and we're based in Great Blakenham, just outside Ipswich. And our main project is the Port One Logistics Park, which is an industrial park. So providing warehouses for logistics and warehousing operations, mainly from the Port of Felixstowe.
And what kind of job roles, people, teams, departments do you have within the organisation to facilitate that work?
So we have CAD designers, site engineers, we have project managers, site managers, quantity surveyors, and then support labour on the site. There's about 200 people work on this site.
Oh, wow. And can you give me an idea of maybe sort of, some of the work, whether it's with those particular, if you want to focus on one of those particular roles that they're doing on a daily basis, or maybe to explain the process in terms of, as you say, if a client comes to you, what requests are they making to the company? How do they get fulfilled? Just to give a little bit of an idea of, as I say, the kind of work that Team AB are doing.
Yes, so this is a 230-acre site. And we've so far built 1 million square feet of warehouses, and we've got another 3 million to build here. And we build to order, so a client will come to us and say that they want a warehouse of 200 or 300,000 square feet, and then we'll get that designed. So we also work with structural engineers, locally architects, landscape architects, and services engineers. The same team works on every project together. And when we've agreed the size and the scope of the building, then we get to work constructing. So these are big concrete and steel frame buildings, covered it with cladding, and then they're racked out. They have racking in them for forklifts to store materials. So all quite big, heavy engineering operations.
It sounds pretty interesting to hear. And usually when I sort of, I ask these questions, I focus on a particular role and ask around some of the traits and characteristics that would suit someone well in it. And, within the organisation, as you've said there throughout the process, you've got so many different roles and so many different, hogs within, the whole organisation. But one thing that does sound apparent is needed throughout, whether it's the initial discussions with clients or, the engineers that are down there doing the groundwork, is it sounds like communication is key and vital to delivering the final request of the customer. Is that something you found in your own experience?
Absolutely. It's everything, because we have a client who will really understand their own business, and it may not be something that we've come across before, and we've got to interpret that and turn that into a construction project, and then communicate what that is down to our site team and to the subcontractors. So communication is everything, really.
And alongside communication, then, from your own experience, what personality traits, characteristics, or skills sort of serve someone well within organisations like Team AB?
Enthusiasm, I would say, is the biggest trait. really, if somebody's interested to learn, that we don't expect that anybody comes to this site is really a one-off type of project. So we don't expect people to come here and know how this works. But if they're enthusiastic and willing to learn, then there are opportunities here to be involved in something that's, as I say, a first in the area, really.
And I guess alongside enthusiasm, sort of adaptability must be a big skill there as well, in terms of, as I say, I've never sort of worked within construction, but I know that things never go to plan. I know, things, there's a variety of different variables, whether it's clients changing minds, deliveries or things not arriving on time, staffing, all these kind of things. So I guess alongside enthusiasm, you say there, like if someone is willing to learn and want to work and deal with the changes as they come, that must serve them incredibly well.
It does. It does. This isn't a production line. We're not building cars or radios or something. These are all bespoke, and every building is different from the one before. Although they, they may look similar, there's they really are all different. So, and every time we break ground in a new area of the site, we have different problems that we encounter. And every time we think we've seen it all, something else comes along that can challenge us. So, but that's part of the fun of construction, really, is that it's never boring. There's always something new, and I'm not at the trainee end of my career, and but I'm still learning every day, and it's what makes me get up and come to work.
And you talk about every day there, and I know there's no such thing as a typical day within any industry. I know every day varies in some way, and as you say, you could be breaking ground or dealing with a different problem, from day to day. But if you had to talk about, when you are, say, working on a project like building a bespoke, warehouse, what do the good days look like, and what do the challenging days look like?
So, a good day, it's quiet, and we're going to program, and the sun is shining, and the deliveries we expected are happening, and then it's all great, and they are very few and far between, I have to say. And a more typical day is that everything you planned for has changed slightly because the weather or something has become sort of dug up on site that you weren't expecting, and you have to deal with that. And that's far more typical than the former. But it's not bad. It's just a challenge. As I say, if you're enthusiastic about these things, then you don't see these things as being terrible. So,
And taking your perspective as, as you sort of said, somebody who's got, a lot of experience within the sector. I work with a lot of young people who express a strong interest in going into construction. And sometimes they're not sure how to put it, what they can be doing to build up that kind of skill set in advance, so that when they do get to the ages when they can start applying for the jobs, that they've got some background. So based on your own experience, what kind of things could someone, if they're, say, maybe, I don't know, sort of around, say, 16 years old or something, now, what kind of things can they be doing in their spare time, maybe, that would help them for a career in construction?
I think the hardest thing in construction, as I say, is the fact that everything is bespoke. So we never build the same thing twice, and it's experience of construction technology that's sort of the biggest thing for us all to learn. It's the enormous amount of different ways that you can build and construct. So I would say, get out there and have a look and see what's going on, what's being constructed, and what has already been constructed. And bridges. Have a really good long look at a bridge and see how a bridge stands up and how it's put together, and or walk past a building site and have a look and see what they're doing. Because if you really scrutinise it, it's actually fascinating how these things work. And
Yeah.
I think that would give you a good kind of idea of what to expect when you actually come to site.
Thanks. That's a really insightful, bit of advice, and actually leads me quite well onto my follow-up question, really, which actually is, you've given some advice there and spoken a bit about, your career within the sector. If you could go back and speak to your younger self, then say, imagine you're that sort of 16, 17 age, and you're about to go out into a career in construction again, taking into account, the experiences you've had, maybe mistakes you've made and learned from, what's the one piece of career advice you go back and give to your younger self about a career in the construction sector?
I think it would be not to get overwhelmed. Don't panic. These are huge structures and things, and they can seem daunting at the start. And actually, if you break them down into their component parts, they're not as bad as you first think. And really to enjoy it. As I say, I thought when I first went on a construction site that there were all these great big guys that were looking fierce, but really I think that most people are only too happy to explain their job and what they're doing. And if you show an interest in what somebody is doing and ask them why they're doing it, they will invariably respond positively to them. So ask questions.